Hello all, welcome back to Badger HQ, and it's time for another update. So I've just got back from a weekend away at a YouTube creator event for people who make factual entertainment content. And apparently I fall into that category, and so does my podcast buddy Keith Brown. So we met up in town, we had a drink, we explored the city a bit, and then when we was looking around we came across a cat cafe. Now, any of you that have been watching his channel knows he loves cats. So I was dragged in there and we had a fun time. The event was really good. I met up with loads of other makers and creators, and the kind of makery DIY people all met up and went out for dinner. So I'm sure you'll recognise a few of the people from this photo. And let me tell you, in real life, they're just as lovely as you would imagine. So this thing is a private event, and it's the third time I've been, and it's a different location each time, but this time was in Nottingham, and I've never been to Nottingham, and it's a beautiful city, and I'm really keen to go back and explore more. There's caves under the city you can go down, so I think I'm going to plan a weekend away and go and check all that out. Anyway, it was definitely worth doing, and I've come back motivated to make some great videos. So I'm just coming up to my 1 year anniversary of moving into this house, which must mean I've been in this temporary workshop about 10 months. I know, time really flies. Now that obviously means I've never done a winter in here. It's an amazing space, but I think it's going to be cold. Well, I know it's going to be cold. And I can wrap up warm, but wood finishes and glue don't dry in low temperatures. So I need another solution. So we'll go in the house and I'll show you what I've been thinking. So when I first moved into the house, I was filming in here in my living room, and I painted this wall nice badgery grey and fitted some daylight bulb lights. And I had a workbench in here, but in the summer, I moved that out to the workshop because I was working out there and wanted my proper workbench. And I made some improvements to it by adding some extra bracing to stop it racking a little. So now I need a solution in here, but what I have is a dining room table. I sit at this when I do the podcast with my mate Keith, and what I've knocked up is some little legs that are just going to rise it up to workbench height. So if I need to film in here, I can, and I've got a little work surface. Now this is something I've mentioned on the podcast, and I do a Patreon update once a month, and I've told them all about it. But I was a bit worried about energy prices and things a few months ago, so I thought I'm going to get a part-time job. And I was a chef for 20 years, so I went and worked in a newly opened restaurant. Now, it was a bit of a nightmare and didn't work out, so I only worked there for 5 weeks, but I've saved up a bit of money for the new workshop. Perhaps we'll come on to that in a bit. But I decided, why am I earning money trying to do that when I could be making things and selling them? So I've booked into a few craft fairs, so there's going to be some videos coming up about that, and I'll show you what I've ordered to make it. What I've got here is some oak and sapele. Now I ordered this off eBay and I got a pallet delivered. So this is all hardwood offcuts. It's a cheaper way of doing it. Well, I say cheaper, it's certainly not cheap, but this is going to be great to make little craft items, and got a free pallet. So back to the plan for the new workshop. It's great space out there, but the main problem is obviously I can't leave anything out there. It's not secure. So in my kitchen, I have all my tools. It's a bit of a disaster area in here, and yeah, I definitely can't have guests over. And so when I'm finished with the tools, I have to bring them back out, and some of the big things like the bandsaw, I'm really reluctant to move, and I've just had to move it out there this week for the next project. Certainly not an ideal situation. So the plan is next spring to start the new workshop. As I say, I've got a bit of money saved from doing that part-time job, and hopefully these craft fairs will go well as well, so that I can get that started. And I'm very excited to have a permanent workspace, not have a kitchen full of tools, and it would just be so much nicer to film videos. Another downside of the tent is the filming. Everything looks green. I hate it. I'm sure you hate it. There's just nothing that can be done about it. So I'll just do a couple of follow-ups from last time. I'd been decorating my bathroom and I said the last thing to do was just put a new windowsill in. I had a bit of leftover wood from when I made the boot bench. This is some engineered oak and I've put that in and that finishes that off nicely. The other thing is I went back and visited family and saw what they've been doing with the garden room. So last time I was there, it was just an empty room. Now it's got stuff in it. It's got some IKEA furniture, some pictures on the wall, and it's being used as a craft room and an artist studio, and they're loving using it. So it's really nice to see it getting some use. Now, one of my subscribers was having a clear out and messaged me if I wanted some old woodworking magazines. And I said yes, and it's a fantastic selection of magazines from the 1950s and 1960s. They've got the most fantastic cover designs on them, and they've got some really interesting bits inside. Now, I've hardly scratched the surface of going through them. It's going to take me a while, but there's some interesting build articles that are still relevant today. But what I really love is the old machine adverts. And you know I love old machines, and I really wish I could find half the things that are in here. And some of the prices are amazing. I wish I could get a shed at this price now. So thank you very much for these. So now on to new tools time, and it's probably something you've seen me use in pretty much every video. And that's my ISOTUNE Link ear defenders. Now, ISOTUNE sent me a pair of these over a year ago, and as I say, I've probably used them in every video and almost every day since, but they've got a newer version out, so they sent me those. Now, they look pretty much exactly the same, just with a few improvements. It's got a bit of a better Bluetooth range, and the battery's improved. So it comes with this boom microphone, which I have found surprisingly useful. When I'm setting the workshop up in the morning, taking tools in and out, I can make some calls and multitask. I'm just not going to wear it on camera and look stupid. So the other thing I've been doing is I've actually proceeded into the garden past the workshop for a change. It's a bit of a mess out there, and I've been trying to clear it. So the bottom of the garden was loads of brambles. In fact, I picked loads through the summer and I'm making some blackberry gin. But you can still see there's some brambles either side of me and both the neighbour's garden. So I got that cleared and I've got these trees and I've been chopping them down. I hate conifers, they're just all dead and horrible inside, but I've been getting rid of those and I think I'm going to save the wood and I can burn it on the wood burner if I get one, and I might have a go at doing some green woodworking. It might be nice to actually use some of the wood from my garden. So there might be a video about that coming up. So I think that's all I've got to tell you for now. Hopefully by next time I'll have got that old shed that's falling down taken down and prepared the ground for the new workshop, but don't hold me to that. Anyway, thank you everyone. Thank you to my patrons, and I'll see you next time.